Hey babes, I'm Miss Mila Rose and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am filming another story time all about my life. And in this episode, I'm going to be continuing with all of the friend drama situation and everything going on with me and Brittany. And things continue to get only wilder. As a brief recap from the last episode, the episode ended with a bit of a drama situation that occurred between Haley, Brittany, and Willow. Brittany devised a strategy to out these two girls on their fake boyfriends, and it worked. And they had to face the bitter truth that this was now public information on Facebook. Womp womp. Now let's get right into today's story time. So after Brittany had completed this whole plot of vengeance on Haley and Willow, Haley, Willow, and Marie viewed Brittany and myself as a bit of a threat. They were genuinely intimidated of us. I remember seeing Haley at school a couple times where we would be passing on the staircase and Haley would give me like an awkward silent smile. I think once or twice she did wave at me at first at the start, and I would do the same. It was very weird because it's not like Brittany would get mad at me if I was to still hang out and be Haley's friend. I don't know if the same thing was true for Haley. It was just a complete split of friend groups at this point. And honestly, up until this point, and I talked about it a little bit, and again, I promise you, I will debrief you on all of the bullying drama that has happened in my friend group throughout all of my middle school and high school years in a later episode. However, I had a lot of time to do some introspection with my friends in general, and knowing that Brittany was treated in this way that I deemed as incredibly inappropriate behavior as a friend, I was so upset with Haley's treatment of Brittany. Marie was truly distancing herself from me. I mean, even though I literally lived with the girl, I never saw her, and I honestly never made really much of an effort to see her. Things had just gotten really weird. I was staying at her place and that was it. I remember I had accidentally knocked over Marie's lamp on the side of her desk and she got really mad and she told me that I would need to replace it, and I'm pretty sure I did give her $40 for the lamp because I felt bad, but it was also just really weird because the lamp still worked and it didn't look broken. I just accidentally dropped it. I don't even remember if it looked damaged. I just remember Marie and I's relationship just definitely really bittered and soured, and it was really weird living at their house at this point. We're probably in May right now in the spring, and there was a guy that I was crushing on. I think I started crushing on him in the 10th grade. We're gonna call him Ryan. He was a very nerdy Latino kid who liked to read manga and sit by himself in the hallways of school just reading manga. Again, I'm such a huge nerd, so I'm into that stuff. So I was kind of crushing on him. I found him a little attractive, so I had a crush on this kid. And Brittany was really in her strategy plotting phase of her life, so she really wanted to hook us up. So she wanted to do a little bit of stalking with Ryan so that she could hook the two of us up, and she actually made it work. But it's kind of funny because by the time she got him interested in me, I was no longer interested in him. I didn't realize how short this guy was. He was so short, and I feel so bad. I mean, guys, I know a lot of guys don't want girls to think height matters, and I think it's a little awkward and weird when the guy is shorter than me. I just do. It feels weird. I'm 5'5", so for a guy to be shorter than that, he has to be really short, okay? And he must have been 5'3", and he was really scrawny, and since I had body dysmorphia as it was, I didn't want to be next to a guy that was so much smaller than me. It was a part of my own insecurities that it didn't feel very good. You know what I mean? But anyway, we went on a couple dates, and it was all thanks to Brittany's magic that she was able to make this work out. Now, I did like spending time with him because we were interested in manga and we got to talk a little bit about nerdy things, but honestly, he struggled with English a little bit, and I just was no longer interested in him at all. I remember he came with me to the mall once because I finally was buying my first phone ever. It was a huge landmark in my own independence to get my first phone, my first flip phone. It was the cheapest, worst phone ever, but it worked. I exchanged numbers with Brittany and also Ryan, and as far as our relationship went, it really didn't go anywhere. I think we held hands, we talked, we might have hugged. I don't think we ever kissed. It was the most awkward relationship I'd ever been in. That was like a week or 2 week long relationship. It was weird. It was really weird, you guys. And Ryan's going to make a repeat visit in a future story time, so stay tuned. However, I don't remember what happened between Ryan and I, but because I was so disinterested in the relationship and I wasn't really interested in getting any closer with him, we just didn't really see each other. I think we kind of like just cut that whole thing off and we just went our own ways. I remember Brittany was dating a guy too around this time, I think, or she had like just broken up with a guy. I don't know. She had like a boyfriend that she was really interested in. She did have a very brief relationship with a guy. So brief, in fact, that it's not really even worth talking about in today's story time. But anyways, I was really close with my friend Brittany at this time, as you are now well aware. She told me one day after school in like June, came out of the blue. I don't remember if it was over text. I don't remember if it was after school. I don't remember if it was in school. It was like maybe halfway through June or like towards the end of the school year. She told me that her family was going away on vacation for the summer, so she wanted me to move in with her for the summer. And I was like, seriously? That's amazing. Like, that would be so cool. Like, it's so awkward being around Marie and her family right now because the whole friend split group situation is just so weird. And honestly, like, I don't feel very comfortable at their house because they just nitpick me like crazy. And I did talk to her a lot about like things that they were complaining about was a problem. Like, honestly, again, like, I had the most guilty conscience ever. So like, I'm like, yes, like, I'm a bad person. Like, I shouldn't have used all the toilet paper. I shouldn't have had conditioner on the bathroom floor. I shouldn't have used their data. I shouldn't have eaten all that much food, especially since I was throwing up. I shouldn't have done any of these things, right? Like, I was so guilty conscious minded. But in Brittany's perspective, she was telling me like, no, like, that's ridiculous. Like, they shouldn't be doing that. And so Brittany was like, come live with me for the summer. Let's do it. Let's hang out. Let's have a great summer time together. And so getting back to Marie's, I had to have the conversation with Marie's mother. I literally had all my stuff packed already, and Brittany told me that she was on her way to pick me up. And I literally just like had my stuff ready to go. Dude, it's so hot in Houston that I'm like dripping sweat. Sorry. So I literally went upstairs because my room was in the basement. I had all my stuff packed. I was ready to go, and I told Marie's mother that I don't even remember what I said. I wanted to say like how appreciative and grateful I was for them taking me in and that I was going now, but like, thank you so much. And I don't exactly remember what I told her. I just remember her saying, okay. I don't remember what she said. She was just like cool with it and she didn't seem upset at all. The interaction was very brief, let's put it that way, and I was really shy and quiet towards their parents. Honestly, all of my friends' parents, I was really shy and quiet towards, like more so than towards them than I was towards friends. But with parents, like there's something about parents that I was just always so like shy and quiet about with them still. So it was weird. It was a very brief interaction. I just knew I had to say something and not just leave without saying anything, right? Like, that would be so rude, especially since they had taken me in for like a few months. So I had that short, brief conversation with the mother. I left the house with my stuff. Brittany picked me up and she drove me to her place. Throughout the rest of this semester, which honestly, I think it was only like a week or two left of school at this point for 11th grade, it was just me hanging out with Brittany. We would drive to the school, we would go to our classes, we would go back home, we would watch videos. I think I showed her the anime Peach Girl. We binge watched that one, and we watched some other TV series. And we also watched Cardcaptor Sakura as well. One day we did have a house party. There was drinking involved. I did not drink anything at this party. There was an exam the next day, and so I was literally studying my ass off in my room. So like I had a room, it was like the office though of the apartment. She lived in an apartment. It was like a 3-bedroom apartment. The smallest bedroom was an office, and that's the room I was staying on, literally on a couch with a pillow and a blanket, but that is where I was staying. So I'm there studying, and I leave the room and my friends are drinking. There's a couple girls who were sitting on the balcony. There was like, I don't even remember what floor you're on. It was like the 16th floor. I don't know. It was high up there, you guys, and I was like scared for these girls sitting on the balcony and drinking. It was wild. They were just drinking, having a good old time, and I was hearing them chatter and hang out, and I'm just there studying in the room so I could do good on the exam the next day. The next day comes, and the girls and guys that were at this party literally have their head on the table, on the desk, like they're so hungover and unwell and do not want to be there at school, and I'm just there like acing every question on the exam. This was at a time and place in my life where I swore I would never try cigarettes or drink alcohol. We wrap up 11th grade and we are now free to adventure into the summer together, and boy did we have a blast. Brittany had introduced me to her older sister. Her older sister was closer to like 30 years old, so she was quite a bit older than us, and she did have a kid as well. She'd just given birth like a year prior, so she had like a 1-year-old baby. Her older sister did a lot of the paperwork and handled a lot of like the secretary kind of duties of a business that they had, which was like a truck driving business where they would do shipments of like produce from Ontario to other provinces and even some places in America. At this time, the older sister was working on an audit, so she needed a lot of help getting caught up with taxes and filing taxes, and that's something she needed a lot of manpower and help with. So the sister, Brittany, was of course pulled into this to help, but of course I was helping too. She actually ended up paying us I think like $200 or something like that. I don't remember. We ended up spending it on clothes, and we did go shopping for the start of the year 12th grade clothes shopping. So we did spend a lot of time over at her sister's and her sister's apartment, which was located in Mississauga. We would get fast food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, commuting to her sister's and going back and sometimes staying the night with her sister. We literally ate so much crap that summer that I skyrocketed from like 122 pounds, where I was like trying to stabilize, to 168 pounds, which was like the highest weight I'd ever been. I did weigh myself at the start of the school year, or like the end of the summer, like end of August, and that's how I found out I was so big. But I mean, it was pretty obvious I was gaining a lot of weight. I honestly, though, I was in such a better place that I think I wasn't so obsessed with my body anymore, but I was still bulimic at this time, and I did participate in those behaviors from time to time, and I had to like hide it from the sister. Brittany and I went on many adventures in the summer, and we had a blast doing it. We went to Niagara Falls, we went downtown, we would roll our window down when we were passing by some really hot guys and just start hitting on them while on a red light. We had the hot girl summer of a lifetime. It was great. Loved it so much. I truly did have a blast with this girl, and we went on so many more adventures, not just these in this summer. We went on more, and I'm gonna get to those story times eventually for you as well. I do remember, even though we were having so much fun, Brittany was starting to get like, not homesick because she was home, but she was missing her parents. And she would just have like really emotional nights where she just wasn't feeling well. She was more emotional. That's possibly why we started spending more nights with her sister, and also because like we needed to cut back on all of our fast food eating habits because it was getting out of hand. We spent time with the older sister playing Mario on the Switch, and the sister took the game very seriously, and I remember she was really frustrated with me and Brittany because we were not taking it seriously at all, and we kept on getting ourselves killed, and she would just tell us over and over to bubble ourselves. I did spend a lot of time too babysitting because she did have a 1-year-old, and those two girls were really busy doing things with a business, and I didn't really know how to do a lot of those things, and the older sister was predominantly teaching Brittany, my friend, how to do a lot of these things. So I, a lot of the times, ended up having babysitting duties where I had to watch the 1-year-old. So it's this time in the summer where I am going to bring back Ryan into the story time for a bit of an episode. Now, I told you that my friend Brittany was getting a little emotional that her parents weren't around, and she was, I think, just bored and like needed something to do, I guess. So she devised a plan to set me and Ryan back up again and just have a night of adventure, really, truly. And basically what she did is she texted Ryan, because I guess she had his number, maybe through my phone, probably, I don't know. She texted him saying that I was missing and she couldn't find me, and that I was around like the shopping area and that she didn't know where I was. And so he, I guess, lived around that area. So we all met up outside at night trying to find me. And she devised a strategy for me to like hide around like a building and just wait out a little bit of time for them to like look for me before like showing up and be like, hi, hey, it's me. So we played that whole scenario out, and we just ended up like hanging out for a little bit at night. Like, it's literally like sun's down, it's dark outside, like it was weird. And Ryan had like a friend with him, I think, and like it was weird. It was a weird situation. I think my friend Brittany was just like incredibly bored and she needed some like adventure, so we had an adventure that night, a very random, a very interesting one. Now, towards the end of the summer, something kind of magical just came together, and I remember that Brittany had a conversation with me saying that her older sister had a conversation with her parents, and she had convinced them to let me stay with them, like move in, like not just for the summer. And again, like I never asked for this. I never asked, can I stay with you during the summer at break? I'd never asked, can I move in with you? Can I stay like long term? I'd never asked these things. And yet they'd really just like really pushed and advocated for me to stay with them, and it was honestly the best thing ever. I was really nervous meeting her family when they finally returned at the end of summer, especially with all of my weight gain. Oh my gosh, it was awful, it was horrendous. The father actually wasn't around much because he was a truck driver, so a lot of times he was on the road. The mother worked in the apartment buildings as like a caretaker of the apartment, and she had a sister-in-law. Her brother, older brother, was also a truck driver, but again, he was hardly around because he's always on the road. Her sister-in-law, the brother's wife, she stayed with the family, and she was predominantly like a part of the family and really close with Brittany and the mother, as well as the sister. I got really close with her as well, but there was an English barrier because she knew Serbian. They all spoke Serbian, and the mother's English was broken, but she could speak English. The sister-in-law didn't really know English, so Brittany had to translate whenever we would have conversations together. So I needed to start to learn how to integrate into their life, and they did have some set rules. They weren't anything crazy. They were a little bit more like strict in terms of like wanting a certain standard, and honestly I was all for that. It was a little hard adjusting and it was a little frustrating, I remember, but like I did like do my best because I didn't want to take up space and I didn't want to be a burden. I remember cleaning as much as possible around the kitchen because it always seemed messy to me, and I thought that that would help if things were a little bit more clean and organized. Taking the to-dos off of like the mother and the sister-in-law, for instance. Predominantly the things that I needed to learn was to not do laundries on the weekends because, or maybe it was Sundays, but I think it was weekends in general, because religiously like they didn't do that. Since I slept on the couch, but it was still the office, people would come in and out still, so I had to make sure that the couch area was made up and it wasn't a mess in the morning. But other than that, nothing too crazy. The mother and the sister-in-law were very nice, and they were very motherly people that were very supportive of the situations that I had gone through. I had shared information with the older sister, and I had also had conversations with the mother and the sister-in-law because they were interested and they wanted to know all of the stuff. These people had been through their own traumas in life. They had escaped war in Serbia and Bosnia war, I think. So they were familiar with people just needing help, and I guess they accepted to take me in because they could see someone who needed it. I don't know, I'm really appreciative that they took me in, and I am forever grateful of that. And not only that, but like, it was the most authentic family experience that I had ever had in my life, and that means so much more to me than like anything else, like truly. But that concludes my story time here of our summer. I know I didn't go too much into details with our exploration of Niagara Falls and things like that. I mean, I really don't remember the fine details other than the fact that we were just adventuring and exploring and eating and hanging out and hitting on boys and that kind of thing, and we had a great time doing it. And the school year was starting, our 12th grade, our final grade, so we needed to get back into study mode and figure out our future and what we were gonna do with our college stuff. So that's where I'm going to leave today's episode. The next episode does pick up with school life yet again with my friend Brittany. We do have adventures throughout the school year and a lot of fun times together in general. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, turning on that notifications bell so you don't miss my next video coming very soon. And I'll see you next time with the next video in my Storytime series. Bye for now, until next time.